2020. Because facts matter.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I can't feel like I said hello too aggressively. Like I'm so excited to hear and see everybody, in particular my guest co-host in studio with me, Carmen Navarro-Cone. Did I come in a little hot?
A little bit. It was kind of energetic. You came in like that storm hit us today out of nowhere.
So great. To be fair, I don't know if it was out of nowhere. Was it out of nowhere?
Maybe I chose to ignore that it was coming.
Yeah, my husband showed me the Doppler radar. He's very much I've had my husband schedule when I should leave a town when I used to be on the road a lot. He's like, in order to get ahead of this snowstorm, you got to leave right now. He goes, otherwise you're staying overnight.
That's helpful.
It is very helpful. So he told me this was coming. I still went out in it.
Well, maybe I should have your husband include me in a group text.
Yes.
That would be helpful.
Honey, please add Carmen Navarro-Cone to our group text.
Yes, please,
for dinner. Do you want a bottle of wine tonight? Should I grab something to eat? Can you check in on your mom?
Yeah,
kind of a thing. Yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
Carmen, it's been a minute.
It has.
And since we last saw each other, you completed training for a new law enforcement department you've joined.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to talk about that, but you posted about it. So
just quickly, I went after years of being in law enforcement, 32 years to be exact. Sometimes to be a better leader, you have to go back to being led. A lot has changed with training. A lot has changed with what we expect from our officers and the partnership with communities. And so I just graduated on July 11th as the oldest recruit in an Illinois police academy. They called me Mama G, little recruits. Yeah, but I did it. That's
amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And is there sort of a, grandfathering somebody in because they've already had law enforcement? It's not like a 50-year-old could go and train with the police department. I don't think that they're necessarily recruiting.
No, they're not necessarily
grandmas
recruiting.
Like me.
54-year-olds like me aren't necessarily being recruited, but there is a need. Some of us in law enforcement, if you work for specific departments, there's certain certifications that you get or you don't, you have or you don't have. And for those instances, if you're looking for other part-time work or you're looking to expand contracting work even after retirement, you can join a police department part-time and you can go to a police academy. So there are police departments that if you already have law enforcement experience, they will hire you. And send you to the police academy.
What would you say were some of the changes you noticed compared to your training when you first began?
Well, some good ones. We'll start with the good ones. Yeah, they're all good. All the changes have been good. So the first time I went to the police academy was 1994. So I was 21 years old, didn't know anything about law enforcement. I had just had a baby and I was nursing.
What? Okay.
So that has changed.
Yes.
No, that has changed. But in the
hot flashes instead of breastfeeding.
That's exactly hot flashes. I traded that in for the nursing.
Yeah.
But during the academy, being told things like, keep your knees together, Navarro. I don't need you pushing anything else out. Or standing at attention. And the instructors waiting till the front of my uniform shirt was completely soaked through before allowing me to go, pump.
To embarrass you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
let's just say that again.
Yeah.
They waited until you like when you said you needed to go and pump. They made you wait until you were
I had to
completely
stand
drenched.
at attention until they were done. Until the front of my shirt was completely soaked. Yes.
Okay, gross.
Before
gross that they were doing that. Not gross that you were.
No.
Perfectly natural bodily function.
Yes and no.
It's
and first day on the job, walking into my new assignment and feeling some big heavy hands on my shoulders behind me and a big gruffy voice say, "Oh, they finally sent me a full-figured deputy." So that's not happening right now. That didn't happen this time around.
Wow.
None of that. So kind of what I've noticed is that the good men in law enforcement are definitely stepping up. There's a lot of good changes, a lot of policies, and the respect is obvious. There's a different level of respect for the job that we're all doing together. It's definitely see us as partners. And that was different to see, even amongst my recruits. Like I said, I was the oldest. My roommate was 21 years old, and her name was also Carmen. So I felt like I was going through the academy, with myself
hand in
again.
hand, yeah, you're holding your own hand.
Yeah,
amazing.
but she, watching how she interacted and how they interacted, that relationship is definitely different. And with the way the trainers interact, the instructors interact, it was just a whole different, definitely more professional.
And one of the things, I was just sharing this with somebody today about when we met, and what struck me the most. One, when I first really met you was at not a fundraiser, an endorsement session for, I believe, a bunch of Northwest Side Dems over here in Edison Park. Was when we really kind of met and kind of hit it off, I think. Yeah. And then I did a paper shredding electronics event with you, and that's when I remember you telling me, how much you wanted to reinforce the relationship law enforcement should have in our communities, and that when things go sideways, when we see horrible things on our phones or on the news, that you want people to know that law enforcement is, that there are problems. Like denying it doesn't help law enforcement, does not make you any safer. No. And I'm being careful here because now that you have this new role, I also want to protect the work that you do as well. You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts when we see things in the news and somehow we're not allowed to criticize law enforcement and the way in which we are policed in our communities?
Yeah, I don't think it's that you're not allowed to criticize. Like even I get it from my own. I have 5 children. They're all over the place, and so I hear it from them too. And I think that's one of the benefits I have. It's not necessarily that it's given me thicker skin, but it has allowed me to practice how to respond when somebody says, "That's a bunch of shit." When they see it, hit the bell.
Wow, you haven't been here for a minute. Okay. Welcome back to radio, Carmen Navarro. Well, I think what I'm saying is that when we see, because law enforcement has the power to take our life and liberty. Yeah. And somehow when I say we're not allowed to, comply or die is making me so outraged. We got that, right? I think we got that.
Yeah, I hope so. I apologize. That was a quick reminder.
You felt very passionate. You felt very passionate about this.
Because it does. I understand the responsibility, and with that, I also understand that is why we get criticized as harshly and why the community fires back so harshly, because we have that kind of with permission. Like we're allowed, the law is literally on our side when we make the decision. And so we have to understand that that's what makes people angry. You made a decision and nothing's going to happen to you. That is their belief. Nothing is going to happen to you. Yet if I make that decision,
everything's going to happen to you.
Everything's going to happen. And so I think getting law enforcement as a whole to understand that the community has every right to feel that way. And that's why the expectations for us are so high. So our reaction should not be, that is not no. Allow people to have their feelings. That's what they tell us when you're raising kids, right? Your feelings matter. Allow the community to have their feelings. They haven't had the training you've had, but also neither one of you were there at that moment.
Right.
Right? I wasn't the officer on that call. I wasn't the officer there. And you weren't the community member there. But your feelings matter, and I should hear you. You have to have that conversation.
Well, especially when we see something happen right before our very eyes, right? Mm-hmm. And we react. But the complete sort of if you'd only done this, if they'd only done that, like none of it is executionable. Like there's nothing. I get that because there's a lot of friends of mine that are in law enforcement are of the mindset that their only goal is to get home safe, and anything else in between is a barrier to that. Which means that every law enforcement is a hammer, so we're all nails.
Yeah, and that's what we have to be careful of. That going through the training this time. Yeah, we had a few instructors that was the thing. No matter what happens at the end of the day, your goal be to get home safely. And my response always was, the problem is then we're working from a fear aspect. And when you work from fear, all your responses come from fear. So that is not how you prepare to do your work every day. Like that is not. Right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't operate from a fear standpoint. Right. My goal every day is to help as many people as I can. That's my goal. my goal as a truck driver is to get from this state to that state. That's my goal. Everyone's job includes doing it safely and getting home at the end of the day.
Everybody wants to get home safely. We don't all have guns.
And we know inherently our job comes with different, but not with that. That everyone's.
Yeah.
As a mom, my job is to get home safely at the end of the day.
I feel bad because I always put Carmen on the spot as my law enforcement expert.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the work that you do. Yeah, they have good conversations. Let's get to a phone call here real quick from Jim. Jim's calling from the north side. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Carmen. Hi, Patti. When I think of police, I think of the famous chief of detectives in Chicago, the greatest jewel thief in Chicago history. He stole everything that wasn't nailed down. Bill Hanhart. I don't know if he's still in jail or not. The problem is with a policeman, what galls me is when they frame somebody, deliberately frame them, or don't do enough to. I've seen a lot of exonerations, a fantastic amount of exonerations lately. But the reason I called influencers, now everyone wants to be an influencer, right? What about an influencer that influences in charity?
I know.
Charity.
There are. Jim.
Are there
go ahead.
influencers
Yes,
in charity?
there are some. There's actually a couple of people who do some and it makes me uncomfortable sometimes because it's kind of a setup. Like one guy goes around and he'll say, "Hey, I'm really hungry. I can't afford my groceries. Will you help me out?" And when they do, he gives them money or pays for their grocery bill. But there was one where a guy went up to this family and said, "Hey, I don't have enough money to put gas in my car. Can you guys spare some?" And that happens to all of us, right? Where you're we feel like we're getting scammed or whatever. He ended up finding out that this girl has cancer, and that the family was homeless. They were living in their car. He ended up starting a GoFundMe and raised I'm not kidding, $1 million for them to be, because her treatments, they didn't have insurance. Her treatments were $350,000. So to answer your question, there are people who set up these accounts who do a lot of altruistic things.
Yeah. I follow a few of them.
Yeah. So there are a few. We also know about them as much because they're not outrageous. They don't get that, the people who make you angry are the ones, who often.
Take the Tate brothers, for instance.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
They like to strangle their victims. I guess this is the new way to go. You strangle a person half to death before you rape them, and somehow you get some whatever you want to call it out of it. I don't know who the hell wants to be strangled.
It's horrifying.
Strangling people isn't a good thing. That's against the law. I think it's against the law. But my point is, let's take Ted Kennedy, for instance. He's on the floor. He said, "Why don't we give everybody a decent burial for free?" And he got booed off the Senate floor. My point is, where are the charitable, altruistic influencers? Because I hear of Laura Loomer, I hear the Tate brothers, I hear of the little boy Fauntleroy, Swanson. He's the heir of the Swanson dinners. I can't. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, He wants to run for president. Yeah, that's what I hear about. But I never hear about an influencer who gets 12 million followers because he's talking about Medicare for all, or
right. No, I hear you. There are quite a few, but to your point about the Tates, they're not getting arrested like that for human trafficking. Jim, before I let you go, a listener texted in, PV, I need your opinion on something. Is it just me, or has this been the worst spring and summer in Chicago ever? That's speaking volumes because the last 15 years have gotten progressively worse. This one, though, seems so miserable and rotten. What do you think, Jim, as far as the weather goes this season?
Well, the smoke, I don't know how long we could tolerate the smoke.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm an old timer now, and plus I smoke about 5 cigars a day, so I don't need a lot of smoke pouring in through the windows.
Kidding.
So my point is, that's going to kill some people. There's no doubt about it.
I know it's been bad. That made it worse.
But, and Europe is on fire. Yeah. Europe's on fire, and they took us out of the climate change agreements. Trump took us out of those. It went really in an opportune time. And everything, all these wars are over oil, and oil is causing part of it. Yep. So anyway, you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, and thanks, Carmen, and thank you, Patti.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank
I'll talk to you
you.
later. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk to the minority leader of the Missouri House, representing House District 14. We're going to talk to State Rep Ashley On, and I have to make sure I say her name right because it's been a minute since we've spoken. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. I usually need a phonetic spelling of things. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible person. I apologize ahead of time.
The Stephanie Miller Show.
Good morning, Malcolm Nance. Hi. You said once again, it's astounding, not only the Supreme Court believes the presidency should have even more power than it currently has, but they're doing it for this guy, who they also essentially confirmed is a rapist. But they're like, oh, and by the way, here's a bunch more power, right?
This Supreme Court will change any law, break anything for Donald Trump.
The Stephanie Miller Show. Weekdays at 8 a.m. on WCPT.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And we cut to size, because just like taxes and BS, we think metal is better when cut. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Find a store or shop online at metalsupermarkets.com.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCBT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Hello to all of our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. Thank you for joining us at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market. Everybody who stopped by and purchased a bag of the best single origin roasted order coffee beans. We also want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels on your house or business. And now is the time to get it done. Go to source.solar and Peter will walk you through the entire process. And of course, our friends who are tuning in on Substack. You know, the Minocqua Brewing Company has an amazing marketplace. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com to put in an order for some incredible beer, including Fascist Tears. That's one of my favorites. The Fascist Tears is a West Coast IPA. It's not a hazy. It's not a bitter one. It's very good. Joining me in the studio is my guest co-host, Carmen Navarro-Cohn. She is our law enforcement expert. And joining us on the line right now is our friend, the minority leader of the Missouri House, State Representative Ashley On, who represents House District 14 in Platte County. Rep, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on today.
My pleasure. We talked a while ago, and I still owe you a massage. My producer reminded me that, and I have to figure out how to get that done. Because the rep is in Missouri. Last we spoke, and so it has been a while, was when J.D. Vance and Trump were trying to get to basically gerrymander every Democrat out of existence in every state. And I'm not sure. There's a lot that's been happening. Get us up to date on what's going on in Missouri, my friend.
Yeah, well, we have been on a wild ride here in Missouri since last fall, last special session, when Trump basically made a phone call to our governor and said, I want a new map in Missouri. And our governor said, okay. And so, you know, we passed a new map, unfortunately, in the Missouri legislature. And when I say we, it was a Republican supermajority, to be very clear. And they rammed it through with very little discussion, no discussion in the Senate, which was shocking. The Senate is supposed to be the deliberative body, right? It's, you know, the House is supposed to be where the chaos and the drama happens, but the Senate is supposed to be, you know, the saucer that cools the hot tea teacup, right? That's the metaphor folks use. They didn't have a single discussion. In fact, the Senate silenced a filibuster to ram this map through. So we've been kind of in a bit of a I don't know, constitutional purgatory, I suppose, since then, because we have a mechanism in Missouri to basically reverse something the legislature has done if enough signatures are collected within a certain time frame. We did that. We collected double the signatures we needed. And our Secretary of State is currently refusing to certify those signatures until the day of the primary, which is next Tuesday. Legally, he doesn't have to, which means that folks will have already voted in a primary on these congressional candidates for maps that the people have explicitly said we do not want. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Well, not so unbelievable.
Yeah. So, so what's left of the idea that voters can pick their representatives? I mean, seriously.
I mean, no, that's exactly that. This is precisely why people are so quickly losing trust in their elected officials, in their government, in politicians writ large, because here in Missouri, especially, all we do is put things in front of the voters, ask them to vote for them, and then the legislature comes back and says, no, we know better, and they overturn it. Or they pass something and the voters come back and say, we don't want that, and they say, it doesn't matter what you want. We are currently actually in a huge fight. There's an Amendment 4 on the ballot in August, which asks us if we want to basically make it so it's harder to pass an initiative petition in Missouri, which lowers our access to direct democracy. Here in Missouri, we have a fantastic ability to put stuff on the ballot as voters, as citizens. When our legislature isn't doing what we want them to do, that's how we pass Medicaid expansion. It's how we legalize marijuana. It's how we put access to abortion in our Constitution. And they're trying to make it basically impossible to do that with Amendment 4. And so we've been fighting on that front and several other fronts this primary season. So it's been really, really tough here in Missouri.
Oh my God, that is. First of all, let's reset for a second, because I know we've had you on the show before, and obviously the like you said, gerrymandering Democrats out of existence is being absolutely shoved down people's throats. My words, not yours. But let's talk a little bit about you, because you're up on this ballot. Are you being primaried by Democrats?
No primary for me, just a general election in November.
Okay, so just a general. So let's vote. Let's start at the beginning, though. So did you grow up in Missouri, my friend?
I actually grew up in Kansas, just on the other side of the state line. Just watching Missouri from afar. Missouri was a purple state back when I was growing up, and it is deep red now.
Yep. And was your family involved in politics? Do you remember the kitchen table, filled with conversations about what was going on, or was this something you came to later on?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we were a political family. And interestingly, my dad was a Republican and my mom was a Democrat. And so I grew up, on election day, my parents would link arms and say, all right, let's go cancel each other's votes out. They'd make a joke of it. And it was kind of a really cool thing to kind of watch these two people who did disagree on policy, but loved each other through it. And, my dad stopped voting Republican in 2016, though. So wow. Props to my dad. But yeah, no, I grew up talking about it. I grew up caring deeply about politics. And it wasn't really until, I was asked to run about 7 years ago that I was like, oh, maybe I could do something like this. I never saw myself as an elected. I thought an elected official was a middle-aged man in a suit and a law degree. I certainly didn't think that
with you on that
tattoos and a nose ring was going to cut it in the suburbs of Kansas City. But here we are 6 years later.
Yeah, outstanding. And for folks who think, first of all, we have to stop accepting that Democrats can't win in places like Missouri. Now, granted, like maybe in a more urban area, but my understanding is you have more candidates running against Republicans, or at least running for seats across the state more than in years. Is that right?
That's right. In fact, we have more Democrats. We have more Democrats have contested Republican seats than Republicans have contested Democrat seats. So we've only left 5 seats uncontested in the state as Democrats. There are only 5 House seats that don't have a Democrat running. There are 22 seats that don't have a Republican running. We had a record recruiting year. We have some really phenomenal candidates who are not just running in seats that, are long gone 80-20 Republican seats. We have folks who are incredibly impressive running in these very close 50-50 seats that we've only lost by a few hundred votes the last few cycles. And they are raising money. They are knocking on doors. They're talking to voters, and they are ready to win in November.
Wow.
That's exciting.
It is. I mean, look, Missouri is one of those states that has had the whole trifecta of Republican run, right? With the governor's office, the legislature, right? The judicial. What is cutting through with folks? Is it starting to sink into them that maybe this leadership and then on top of that, the federal leadership isn't making people's lives better?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, in a year like this, when, and in a state like Missouri, where Republicans often run and win on culture war issues, they like to run on immigration and crime and trans kids. And, those are the things that those are the boogeymen that they like to, put in front of voters. But in a year like 2026, in an election cycle like this, when our president cannot help himself but continuing to go back into a war that he started in the first place out of nowhere. Gas prices continue to fluctuate and make things impossible. Diesel prices are through the roof. Fertilizer costs are astronomical for farmers. And the cost of living for most Missourians is untenable right now. Their utility bills are going up. It costs more to buy groceries every week and to fill up your car. These culture war issues, that is not going to cut it this election cycle. Voters are tired of hearing about it. They are tired of their elected officials going to Jefferson City, voting against their will explicitly and being proud to do so and saying so on a microphone on the record, which is wild. I think that they're starting to see that the hubris and the audacity levels are at an all-time high in the Missouri legislature with this Republican supermajority, and they're not having it anymore. I think they're finally seeing through the smoke and mirror show, and they're ready for some real change.
I really hope so, because if not now, the question is, if not now, when?
Yeah,
it is people now. Come to their senses.
And hopefully it's a ripple effect, right? The little, you drop the rock there, and hopefully those ripples make it across to other communities and other states across the country.
Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point. And I believe very firmly in momentum. I think momentum in sports and momentum in politics is a very real thing. And it's a phenomenon that I am very excited to be latching onto this cycle. We're about to defeat that amendment that I just told you about, Amendment 4. I'm confident that we will, it'll be a no from Missourians. They want access to direct democracy. And the other amendment is Amendment 5, which is a complete sham to try to raise our sales taxes on everything while eliminating our income tax. And Missourians across the political spectrum have seen through this just complete load of crap that the governor and the legislature is trying to push on us. And my hope is that after next week, our primary is on Tuesday. After that primary, we will have defeated Amendment 4 and Amendment 5, two of the Republicans' biggest priorities. And we can go into the rest of this cycle with that momentum, knowing that we are on the right side of this and that voters stand with us and that our values are their values. And that's how we win in November.
Amazing. We need more of this energy. More of this. More of State Representative Ashley Aune, who's the minority leader of the Missouri House. I don't even think super majority is a strong enough word for the hold that Republicans have in Missouri, is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. It doesn't evoke a feeling, right? But it's not extreme enough. I mean,
yes.
It doesn't describe what the outcomes are of a supermajority. And what the outcomes are is a complete disincentive to compromise. There is no incentive in Missouri government right now to reach across the aisle, to talk to people who maybe view things a little differently than you and come to a solution that actually makes life better for Missourians. There's no incentive for that here. And you can feel it. You can feel it throughout the state.
Wow.
Okay, but this has been an extraordinary conversation, and I remember why I enjoyed talking to you last time and why I offered you a massage, and I've got to get on that. I should give you one too, Carmen. I've got a bunch. I just don't have time to go. So right now, Rep, if somebody, minority leader, if someone hears this and wants in Missouri or anywhere, what's the one thing you genuinely want to tell people rather than yelling into the void online?
I want people to know that Missouri is not a deep red state. Missouri is a state that doesn't participate enough in our democracy, where it counts. We don't do a good job of differentiating between the candidate and the policy that's in front of us. And so I know that, deep down, Missouri is a purple state, and mohowsdems.com is a great place to go to find the folks who are running near you, who are trying to build some momentum in their community, whether it's in St. Louis and Kansas City, Springfield, Columbia, even in the Boot Heel. We've got incredible candidates running all over this state, and they're ready for your support.
Outstanding. Again, it's Minority Leader, the Missouri House State Representative Ashley Awney. Go to ashleyformissouri.com to learn more about the work that she does, how you can support her campaign. The primary is August 4th. She's uncontested, but we want to make sure that she gets across that finish line in November, as well as Democrats across the state. ashleyformissouri.com. Ashley, I want to thank you so much for joining us. And remind Missourians, everybody, the primary is August 4th. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing on Amendments 4 and 5. And we wish you the very best. Please, our microphone is yours anytime you need it.
Great work.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Take care. Go get them. Stay hydrated. We'll be back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you all for joining me and guest co-host Carmen Navarro-Chacon. We'll be back after this.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
You are listening to
Appreciate you guys.
WCPT 820.
That was
Here's the
fantastic.
latest Chicago
Thank you so
weather
much.
updates.
Thank you. Got it. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Really appreciate it.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Thunderstorm chances ending early tonight. We'll see cloudy skies with a low temperature of 70. Northwest winds up to 25 miles an hour. Sunny Tuesday, 77 for the high temperature. A more comfortable day with winds out of the north at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Wednesday, lots of sunshine. Comfortable again, high of 78 degrees. Warmer Thursday, sunshine, high of 87. Chance of storms Friday, high of 84. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 73.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
The Stephanie Miller Show.
Someone said, I was 13 when Clarence Thomas joined the Supreme Court. Today, I'm almost 50. Elections have lifetime consequences. Remember that this year. Both Thomas and Alito could retire soon, and the president cannot confirm another Supreme Court justice without the Senate. Democrats must win the Senate. Vote blue, no matter who. Stop the infighting. I mean, if you don't get that Hillary was right, and Kamala was right about all of this and the consequences of elections, I don't know what to tell you.
The Stephanie Miller Show. Weekdays at 8 a.m. on WCPT.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy who can fix my lamp.
I do. At the Township of Lyons Repair Cafe, neighbors help neighbors repair all sorts of things from lamps to vacuums. Little acts of mutual support that make a big difference.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy who can notarize documents?
The Township of Lyons has lots of notaries on staff ready to help.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy?
At the Township of Lyons, we are your guys. Whatever you need, we work to bring more resources right to you.
Check out the Township of Lyons online, Lyons with a Y, LyonsTownshipIL.gov.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Apparently, I left my my mic on when I was saying goodbye to Minority Leader Ashley Awney. Everyone was in the booth, like waving at me, like, "Hi guys." Good to see you too. But I mean, fortunately, all we were saying was goodbyes and thank yous and how great she was. Yeah, she was. It would never be so sad. Have you ever done that? Dr. Jason Bissell joins us in studio, of course, the founder, the mastermind behind Chicago Community Acupuncture, Chico Maku. You hear his incredible daughters sharing their stories about the value of acupuncture. But I don't know if you've ever done that where you've like thought you hung up with somebody and then you talk about them like behind their back or whatever. Like, how sad would it be if we were like trash talking?
Yeah, that would not be nice.
And then it's to hundreds of thousands of people listening here and online. And at any rate,
dropping profanities and getting the FCC.
Well, we already had someone take care of that earlier. I have a 7-second missing in my show already.
I apologized for that.
I had some young people on a few weeks ago, and one of them dropped the F-bomb. And, like, I was really hard, like, 'cause she was, like, really embarrassed. You could tell she was almost going to start crying. And, like, I'm in the middle of trying to do the show. I can't also soothe you for having cussed on my microphone.
Yeah.
So I was, like, the emotions for me, like, I could see her, like, her face.
Yeah,
her face. You could see, like, you know, teenage girls, like, or teenagers in general, like, her cheeks were burning with embarrassment and all of that stuff. At any rate, welcome back, Dr. Bissell.
Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. You have been working on your triathlons.
I'm in the height of insanity season now. We're 6 weeks out from the Ironman, so the training is its highest volume.
He tried to get we tried getting folks on board with training, and we could each do one leg of a triathlon. Like I would do the swimming, someone would do the biking, someone would do the running, and we did not get on that. You also trained for triathlons.
Oh, but it was I explained to Patty, it's a sprint triathlon that my sister forced me into.
Yeah, did you like it?
I loved it.
That's how I got started.
I loved it. No, that's how I ended. I started and ended it like that, just so we're clear, Doc.
I did it. We're done here.
We're done here. I've done it a couple more times, but it's the sprint. The sprint is perfect because you can do it by yourself or you can do it as a team. That I loved, but that's
and
it.
It's a great way to be in shape because I don't recommend Ironman for anybody.
Any human except yourself. Okay.
I shouldn't even be doing it, honestly. I preach balance and moderation, and there is nothing balanced or moderate about the Ironman training. But a sprint or even an Olympic distance, you can have a life with it. You can recover. It's a great way to work different muscles and different systems in the body without overtaxing anyone. So I've got patients that run all the time and they burn out their hips, knees, and ankles. I've got patients that bike all the time and it messes up their backs and wrists.
Yeah.
We've got patients that swim all the time and it dries out their hair, skin, and nails. But with triathlon training, you're doing something different every day.
Yeah.
So it's a nice way. I recommend this for everybody. So the sprint distance, I think that's great. I'm glad you've done them. Yeah. I hope you continue.
It was fun. And, you like to share trauma in life. So just like my sister forced me, I then forced my daughters. So that was nice.
What's the sprint distance? What's the run?
The run is only a 5K. So it's a 3-mile run.
Everyone has a really different idea of what sprint means.
Well, I'm more of a trotter, so it's not really a run.
50
I guess
yards.
that's why.
We're talking 50 yards, 100 yards. That's a sprint distance, just so we're all clear on things. Like a sprint triathlon should just be sprinting 100 yards and then swimming to the end of the pool and back. Yeah. And then ride your bike a couple times, 2-3 times around the block.
2-3? No, that's a little more.
I would take a mile. I'll take a mile sprint on a bike.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, sprint is really a misnomer for this. I will give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
It just means shorter distance is what it means.
And this sprinting is short. I was a sprinter in high school. I was both swimming and running.
Ah, okay.
Track star.
Not star. So I mostly did track in grade school and then swimming to stay in shape for softball season. So let's be clear on my abilities here.
Okay.
I could swim forever. I just couldn't swim fast forever. I only got so much in me. As far as running goes, my joke is, and it's true, I am built like a quarter horse. I have big quads and teeny tiny ankles, which means I'm fast out of the gate, but I cannot go the distance. I got maybe a couple 2-3 blocks in. That's all I'm saying. I actually, all joking aside, I came across a training video on sprinting, like really not triathlon sprinting with this BS.
It is fast running.
Yeah, and I wish that in high school, like some of the drills that they have them doing look fantastic, like little like mini hopping and like balancing and stuff like that. Like we just ran. We were just like, just go fast.
Yeah.
There wasn't like muscle training.
Go there and back 20 times.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we did, some people call them ladders.
Yeah,
We call them suicides.
Yeah.
Right? You run to one line, you run back. Run another, next line. Yeah. So that I could do. But that was it.
Yeah, and the drills are something that I struggle with because I've got so much time to run, and I don't want to take any of that time up by doing these drills, but I know that I should, and I'm forcing myself to, before most of my runs, I'll do like 2 or 3 minutes of drills. But it is good to do it to improve your form. It'll help everybody's longevity to be able to continue doing this without getting hurt. So I recommend them, and it's fantastic to have YouTube to teach us all how to do it.
Exactly. Like some of these look like great skills to have to strengthen your flexibility, ankles and knees. Like that's the biggest thing.
Is this your first Ironman?
Oh, no.
No, this will be my 5th.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. So you mentioned earlier about watching your mouth. In case some people are, you're got a hot mic.
Yeah.
I need something for the closed captioning. That is my face. So
Yes,
if we
her
can do a
face.
closed caption, because my face speaks volumes. So yeah. So I thought you said you wouldn't recommend, but this is your 5th one.
Yeah, I give great advice.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't necessarily take it.
Okay, that makes me feel so much better because you're a doctor, and so that makes me feel better. Okay.
I really feel like mini triathlon is a better name than it's called a sprint triathlon. It's a 100 to 400 yard swim. Oh, so these are all different. 4 to 6 mile bike ride, 1 to 2 mile run.
That's a super sprint.
That's a super sprint, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
which is half of the traditional sprint distance.
All right, we'll see.
The sprint is a 0.45 mile swim, so it's like 16 laps in the pool. And it's a 12.5 mile bike and a 3.1 mile run.
All right. Yeah, no, I will.
But you can do one part of it. It's fun. That I call it fun.
I agree. I agree. We should do that.
Yeah, when you've done them, was it the Chicago Tri?
It was in oh my gosh, why Naperville?
Okay,
the
I've
Naperville.
heard they put on a good one there.
They do, and you know what, Patty? This was the great motivator. I do anything for charity. Remember, even my sister even convinced me to get on stage.
Yes, she did.
For charity. And this was for raising money for breast cancer and uterine cancer, and so it was the women's sprint triathlon. And so you had the teams, like you had the survivor team, and then you had the age groups. And nothing motivates you to run faster than trotting behind somebody who has their age tattooed on their calf, and it says 76, and she's in front of you.
Yeah, I've seen that at the marathon. A guy with a shirt on his back and said, "Old, fat, diabetic, and ahead of you."
That's brilliant.
That's motivating.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. We're in studio with our law enforcement expert. What title would you like now? Former Cook County Sheriff candidate, Carmen Navarro-Jacone, currently serving, or we don't want to represent you as what you don't want.
Yeah, I would say that my new thing that we've been working on is going to be later with the City of Chicago Cook County Violence Against Women Task Force, and we're starting a All-In Alliance. So now I'm a member of Chicago 77 and the All-In Alliance. So I think that's important to me.
All-In Alliance. We'll be talking more about that in the next hour with Carmen Navarro-Jacone and some guests she's invited to join us for that conversation as well. Yes. And we have Dr. Jason Bissell, who is the proprietor, the owner, the mastermind behind Chicago Community Acupuncture. He has been a sponsor here at WCPT for several years, and we're grateful for that. Mm-hmm. We can talk more about that if you want when we come back. But he has 2 locations. We often talk about the one nearest us over here by Superdog. Tell folks about the 2 locations that you have and how they can make appointments.
Chicago Community Acupuncture is our more affordable option. It's community acupuncture, so we've got 4 lounge chairs in 1 common room. And it's at Milwaukee, Devon and Nagel, right in front of the Superdog Dare.
Thank you.
And my other one is a Center for Acupuncture, which is in Wilmette, which has got private rooms. It's a little bit nicer environment, and as such, we have to charge a little bit higher price for it. But those are the 2 of them.
Excellent.
A Center for Acupuncture and Chicago Community Acupuncture. And
so go online, and there's a calendar there. Folks can choose or connect with you.
People can, each of them is a separate business, so they have their own website. There's centerforacu.com and there's chikomaku.com, and you can schedule online there.
Outstanding. And I know it's been a while since I've been there, so I got to come in. I need stuff.
Maybe we can do the community one. We can drag the other halves.
Yeah, exactly.
Misery loves company. Torture loves trauma. Trauma invites trauma. I'm just saying.
All the things. Plus, I got to bring Declan in. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation. If you have any questions for either of my guests, please give us a call or text 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. That's number 2. Call or text. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, and of course, all of our friends tuning in on the social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. We're glad you're here.
Save big money on everything you need at Menards. Your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, and it enhances the appearance of your home's exterior. Owens Corning Duration Shingles offer ultimate protection and impressive curb appeal. Choose from 26 stylish colors and transform your home today. Shop our selection of roofing products on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This is a WCPT moment in labor. In the 1830s in Lowell, Massachusetts, during the rise of the textile industry, factories were hiring large groups of women ranging in ages 18 to 35 to work at their mills. The workdays were 13 hours long and had poor working conditions. By 1834, the textile market was sluggish. In response, the workers' wages were reduced by 12.5%. One of the workers, Julia Wilson, tried to organize the women to get their wages back, only to be terminated abruptly. Wilson signaled the women to strike or turn out. Over 800 women marched and signed a petition saying we will not go back into the mills to work unless our wages are continued. Ultimately, the strike failed, but they learned from their mistake and successfully battled back a rent increase on their boarding houses 2 years later. By January 1845, about a dozen of the Lowell female textile workers came together to form the Lowell Female Labor Reform Association. This would become the first organized union of women workers in American history. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We're working for your rights.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
We're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversations here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. In studio, I have my guest co-host, Carmen Navarro-Jacone. She has been partnering with the City of Chicago Cook County All-In Alliance to confront domestic violence, making sure that we have our agencies cross-communication, sharing, what they have learned, what works best practices, and what people need to know about staying safe.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in the next hour. Also joining us in studio with us is Dr. Jason Bissell, the owner of the mastermind behind Chicago Community Acupuncture. How are the girls doing? Everyone knows them from the commercials here.
They are crazy busy this summer.
Yeah.
I remember summer being a laid-back time, but not for kids these days.
No.
Camps and classes and just... Our whole summer is just shuttling them to and fro these different activities.
Well, I believe one had traveled for a fencing competition.
Yeah.
You do, by the way, Carmen.
Yeah, we went to Portland for nationals, and she competed there. And then we drove my big girl to Purdue, where she did a camp down there in engineering. And then we just drove little one back to another fencing camp at Northwestern. So fortunately, that was a short drive.
Yes.
And then next week, I'm flying her out to Boston for another fencing camp. And then coming back, my wife is then taking the older one to an East Coast college tour circuit.
Which colleges did you pick for the East Coast?
She wants to study engineering, so she's looking at
MIT,
Carnegie Mellon.
okay.
No, we looked at MIT last year. She thought it was too eggheady.
I can see that. 1,000% I see that. I'm sorry. So Carnegie Mellon,
Johns Hopkins, Princeton, and Columbia and Barnard. On this one. And
interesting.
Still need to go to Georgia Tech and UT Austin on another trip.
Columbia's got. I was so surprised at how beautiful that campus was because it's such a island in the city of New York. It's wild. We went to all the schools. What was the other one that you said that Griffin visited? Princeton. Princeton was interesting because I think when I was younger, I thought about wanting to go. The campus was very sterile. So was Harvard's. As far as it was just weird. I loved the campus at Bowdoin. I think we talked about that. That's a small liberal arts college in Maine. I loved Penn. Penn's a beautiful campus. At any rate, I took Griffin on a whole tour of all the East Coast
That's awesome.
schools. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, we did the Harvard tour last year, and they're not even trying.
Right?
We don't need to sell you on this. You want to come here anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
They didn't show us
That's
inside
what I
of
heard.
any buildings.
I agree. I was not. It was kind of blah. Penn I loved. Yeah, it was fantastic. Stanford is wild. Does she still think about going to Stanford?
That's still the top choice.
Did you see it once? Say like you, the poker face.
Yeah, the poker face. He's like, ugh.
Yeah, no, we did the California tour, and we saw Berkeley, which was fine until we saw Stanford. And then everything else paled by comparison. I want to go to Stanford now. I've got nothing left to study.
Yeah. You can go vicariously through her.
Well, is she at Purdue now, or she already finished her camp there?
She is back, yeah.
Did she not? How about Purdue?
She liked Purdue.
Yeah.
Yes. So that we would like to have her closer so we can drive her and pick her up.
I mean,
so that's that, and they have an excellent engineering program, so that is high on our list.
If I may, the University of Illinois also has an excellent engineering program.
Do. Yeah,
I'm
that's
just saying,
also on the list. Yeah,
it's a fantastic campus. If I may,
yeah. One of my sons graduated from there. Yeah, he loved it.
I loved going to the University of Illinois. It was a great experience. I feel proud of the education that I have, and all the things. At any rate, I wish you the best on that journey. Are you able to, when you travel for some of the kids stuff? You just came back from Michigan, which I love that area of Michigan.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to enjoy like some of the local restaurants, or take it all in a little bit?
Yes. Wherever I go for runs around, so I get to see the neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
And we did see some of the sites. They have a beautiful Japanese garden in Portland. It was nicer, I think, than the San Francisco one. It was gorgeous, built into this hill, into a mountain, really. And but they have got a terrible homeless problem there. And the homeless folks there are different from our homeless because they are like zombies. They're just zoned out on fentanyl. Except for the ones that are also high on crystal meth, and you can tell them because they're the ones that are screaming at nothing in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And they're like every 3-4 blocks. It was really sad because it's a lovely city.
Philadelphia was suffering from mental health and addiction crisis when we were there as well. Yeah, I don't.
It's been like that for years there.
Yeah, in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
What would you say has been like some of the? I mean, we have a homelessness issue here, but as law enforcement, what would you say in contrast? I'm not sure how much you've had the opportunity to look at other municipalities.
Well, in different states. So every year, first of all, when I went to the FBI Academy, we go with, there were 300 in my class from 300 different police departments all over the world, not just here. And everyone has a homeless problem, but every year there's a conference somewhere different. When I went to Seattle, that was disturbing because they're all very young.
Oh.
And they all have, I think from all that was the most disturbing for me because they're all kids and they all have like a dog with them or an animal with them because they said that keeps them safe.
Right.
Like if somebody comes near, and I'm like, all these children with that was heartbreaking. But everyone says they have a problem. I don't know.
Right.
But
as far as what Chicago's doing differently, because I think you're right. It just, and it's hard to explain that it feels different. Right. But we also had increasing problems in Chicago. You look at the CTA, I know that Mayor Johnson had talked about having wraparound services provided, end to end, like when we have, the end of where a train terminates, if you got people who are still riding back, like there needs to be some sort of, interaction there with hey, these are the supports we have. I don't know. I'm not in that area. I'm over my skis, with what a solution might be to help people.
Well, I rode the train to and from work for a lot of years, and homeless on the train wasn't a new thing. There were even specific cars they put them on, and you knew when you were riding the train which cars not to get on because that's it wasn't. I think it's when it became, more people were forced to ride the train, and then they didn't like what they were seeing, and then some of the.
Right. I would say, because I started taking the train every day when I was in high school, and I don't, and maybe I'm just having selective memory, because even people get mad when Jim calls and says that he doesn't remember there being this level of, struggle with homelessness, both people who are without homes and those who are, on the train. I don't remember the level of this in the 80s at all, but that was my.
No, I was riding the train a lot in the 90s, and there was always some homeless people on it, but not as many.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, I just hope that we can find some way through that. At any rate, which brings me to talking about, how we, are managing our stress, in all the ways. What are you seeing from your patients? Because I know that acupuncture can also be useful in managing anxiety and depression and things like that.
Yes, and it is in great need right now because the folks with the political climate, with the economic climate, with the war, my patients are in near panic. And a lot of people are coming in with a lot more mental health issues, insomnia, eating difficulties, physical manifestations of the stress, gastrointestinal, this shoulder pain. It can show up in many different ways. And acupuncture does a fantastic job of helping to regulate that system to get us more calm and more zen. So I'm really grateful to be able to help them in a way that is safe. It's not addictive. It's not like taking a pill to ease your anxiety, which can be addictive. So I'm really grateful to be able to help folks with that.
It's fantastic. And I really encourage folks to check out Chicago Community Acupuncture, Chico Maku. And when you do come in for your first visit, he provides you with a book that gives you some information about your health, about nutrition and things like that. Tell folks they can also buy that if you'd like.
That's the Asian Diet. I wrote it because I don't have time to give all this information in a lecture to all my patients, but I used to when I was slower. And it was named a top diet by U.S. News and World Report. It's been sold all around the world. It's you can read about it at theasiandiet.com, or you can just order it from Amazon. And that is the diet, lifestyle, and attitudes recommendations from the Chinese culture to promote wellness and prevent disease.
Folks, you can start with green tea every day. I make a pitcher of iced green tea every week and get my through. That's right. That's one of the things I'm trying to be habitual about too.
Really?
Yeah.
Green tea is fantastic for you. Yeah. It prevents heart disease, vascular disease, cancer, cavities, increases metabolism, decreases appetite, regulates blood sugar and blood pressure, lowers lipids, triglycerides, and cholesterol, strengthens bones, reduces pain, improves mood, increases endurance, lowers inflammation, prevents chromosomal damage in the eggs and sperm, and improves oxygenation in the internal organs.
There you go. Just to name a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
That
was my shocked face.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's Dr. Jason Bissell at ChicoMaku.com, Chicago Community Acupuncture. Folks, thank you so much for joining us, Doc.
Thanks for having
always
me.
good to see you.
Yeah.
We'll see you next month.
Next month, yeah.
Yep, we'll see you then.
Thank you.
More after this. I'll take your phone calls when we come back, 773-763-9278. And coming up in the next hour, we'll also have our friends from All In Alliance. We're going to talk about what we can do. It's a task force to counter violence against women. We'll be more conversation when we come back on WCPT and KKNW. I got 1150. I got stuck there. What happened?
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year, contacted Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843, or visit our website 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Amazon Business. With smart business buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Julie Walker. Police in Seattle now say there were at least 3 suspects involved in a food festival shooting near the city's Space Needle over the weekend, and that one of them was among those killed in the violence. In a document filed in juvenile court, where a 15-year-old arrested in the case was making an initial appearance Monday, police said they believed there were at least 3 shooters, the 15-year-old, an acquaintance who died at the scene, and at least one other unknown suspect. The gunfire erupted around 6 p.m. Sunday during the Bite of Seattle festival. Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes.
Certainly last night was a tragedy. It's becoming all too familiar in this community and many communities as well. Any loss of life due to gun violence is unacceptable, as is the terror it causes our community.
President Trump defending his economic policies in Michigan, where new Canadian tariffs may sting. The Republican president visiting a General Motors factory and claiming his tariffs have helped the automaker.
It's amazing what tariffs will do for General Motors and what the election has done. They're doing great. General Motors is doing fantastically, the best year they've ever had. And I won't get into it, but there's a reason. We've been very good to General Motors. And the rest of the world doesn't love me, but that's okay. It's called America First.
At a preliminary hearing Monday in Los Angeles, a judge rules there's enough evidence to send singer David to trial for the killing of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. David's real name is David Burke. He pleaded not guilty. This is AP News. AP correspondent Ed Donahue reports on another hearing in a Georgia school shooting case.
A psychologist testified a teenager who killed 2 students and 2 teachers in a shooting at Appalachia High School in Georgia had a chaotic, lonely upbringing. Colt Gray pleaded guilty to 55 counts, including murder, in the 2024 shooting. Forensic psychologist Kevin Richards evaluated Gray after the shooting. He described the now 16-year-old as an odd kid and described his upbringing as chaotic, noting the family had financial problems and moved around a lot, so he wasn't enrolled in school for long stretches. Gray was described as paranoid. He feared teachers were plotting against him and people in public were whispering about him. Richards also said Gray's parents used drugs and fought a lot, and he had a lonely and neglected childhood. Colt Gray is expected to be sentenced to life in prison.
I'm Julie Walker, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Thunderstorm chances ending early tonight. We'll see cloudy skies with a low temperature of 70. Northwest winds up to 25 miles an hour. Sunny Tuesday, 77 for the high temperature. A more comfortable day with winds out of the north at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Wednesday, lots of sunshine. Comfortable again, high of 78 degrees. Warmer Thursday, sunshine, high of 87. Chance of storms Friday, high of 84. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 73.
Behind every meal are the efforts of our farmers and farm workers, whose work feeds our families and powers our communities. For more than 30 years, AgSafe has supported this industry with the knowledge and resources needed to keep workers safe and thriving. We partner with agricultural employers to strengthen safety practices and provide hands-on training. Safety isn't paperwork. It's people, community, and peace of mind. Learn more about our work at agsafe.org. Sponsored by agsafe.org.
How do you know your home? At Habitat for Humanity, we believe it's when you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Not because of chance, but because of high costs and other very real barriers. A housing crisis this big needs all of us. So let's open the door to opportunity and build a tomorrow where home is possible for everyone. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. Again, that's Habitat.org. Habitat for Humanity. Let's open the door.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home. Joining me in studio is my guest co-host, Carmen Navarro-Cohen. It's been a minute since she's been here, so thrilled to have you back, my friend.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Yeah, it's really, I have my guest co-host. I haven't, we've had Ken Mejia, it's not just you. I just haven't, there's been so much going on that I also have been doing a lot of recorded interviews because now I'm here full time as opposed to working two different jobs. Which is great. It's been fantastic, and I love doing it. I'm also in sales, so if anybody owns a business that they want to be able to partner with us and make sure these conversations happen, as well as share your story with our audience. It's a very intimate way to tell the story of your business. You can email me, pvasquez@heartlandsignal.com. That's pvasquez@heartlandsignal.com. As you heard Dr. Jason Bissell, who's been a sponsor, he says it's a great way to connect with new clients. So we'd love to have you join us. Carmen is our law enforcement expert. She's former Cook County Sheriff's candidate. She's also a part of the All In Alliance. We're going to talk to her friend, her collaborators.
They're my friends. They are definitely my friends and
collaborators
partners.
and friends and partners, Katie Dunn and Sarah Brown from Rebel Health Charities, to discuss the City of Chicago, Cook County Violence Against Women Task Force. Again, that's All In Alliance coming up in just a few moments. We'll take your phone calls, too, before we get to those stories. If you'd like to join us at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. That's the number to call or text us. I want to thank our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. I got to hang out with Patti Sorry, Patti and Jackie. That was a weird, Jennifer.
That was a Bennifer. That was very good.
I just did a very strange thing there. Patti and Jackie from Pride Coffee Roasters. Patti was at the Skokie Market where she sold all of their goods.
I need
their
more coffee. I need more coffee.
I bought Peru yesterday. It was the blend that I bought, the single origin roasted to order coffee beans. They also sold out of their on-site coffee, like their iced coffee. They made a peanut butter coffee. I was running late, and the other volunteers were like, you better get over here because this coffee's almost gone. And it was. I got the last cup. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, my husband would like peanut butter coffee.
Oh, it was so good. Next market is August 9th. Come and join us at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market. You can go to pridecoffeeroasters.com, put in an order for a bean subscription, and find out what other markets there will be in your area. You can also pick up some swag. I have their Sounds Gay, I'm In sweatshirt as well as their tote bag, and really love hanging out with them. We also want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels on your house or business. Do you have solar panels?
No, remember we did a whole show.
I know, and it didn't. It's not going to work out for you. Oh, you'd been burned by previous.
We had a good discussion, though.
Yes,
it was a good discussion.
A lot of folks got burned by
and now it's
door-to-door salesman. Yeah, I hear you. Well, Peter is not one of those guys. He'll walk you through the whole process. He's also partnered with Illinois Solar for All with financing to make sure you can get that across the finish line as well. That's source.solar. We also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company. We now have our friends viewing on Substack. Minocqua Brewing Company. Subscribe to the Substack. You'll have access to the newsletter, including columns like the one I wrote today called Comply or Die. They don't tread on me, folks, are certainly, well, he shouldn't have been here. He should have complied. Okay, can we, you know what? This is a good point to turn toward this. My issue, one of my biggest issues with this is the unmarked police cars who Secretary Homan himself said he doesn't even know if they engaged the emergency sirens and lights. So why in the frickin' frack would anyone think that law enforcement why wouldn't they think they were being carjacked or being driven off the road by somebody who wants to harm them?
Yes, especially as that whole side likes to say that kind of crime is up, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to steal your car and pull you out and yeah.
And I've said this before, it puts those in law enforcement who are doing a good job, who are well trained, it puts them in a vulnerable position. That it makes their job more dangerous. And we saw that I believe it's in Portland, a group of men dressed up like ICE agents, impersonating ICE agents.
Yes.
What the frickin' frack? Yes.
All the feels.
Here's a question for you. Maybe this is for a little bit later. Are there enough resources to handle and prevent domestic violence in Cook County? That's a big question. That's a really big question.
It's a big question, but the answer is no, there aren't. Last year alone, there were over 250 days where there wasn't a bed available for a domestic violence victim.
Oh, my God.
So that's in the state. You have victims in Cook County who sometimes have to go as far south as Springfield in order to get a bed.
Oh, my God.
So, no, there are not enough resources.
And when you're in a situation where it's already dangerous to try to leave, then to have nowhere to go, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you for asking your question, 773. We appreciate that. We also have, you have the best guests and co-hosts. Well, that was very nice of you. Thank you for the 630. That's a compliment for you and Dr.
And if it's 630, it's not even my husband. That makes it even better.
We were talking about the weather earlier. Mike from Naperville, because one of our listeners asked me in the last hour if this spring and summer have been the worst in Chicago ever. They said they're 60 and they can't remember the weather being this abysmal. It's disgusting. It has been particularly bad. Mike in Naperville says, yes, this has been the absolute craziest weather for summer I can ever remember. Love you too, my friend. And let's take a phone call. We've got Cam, who's been patiently waiting. I know we had some listeners on the line, and I can take your phone calls now for a few minutes. Cam, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, first-time caller. I'm calling in because actually, first of all, thank you for taking my call at all.
Sure.
This is a difficult topic, arguably, because, I'm 1 for 1 right now on this station, having called into other shows. One station took it pretty well, another one compared me to Ken Paxton, which that's pretty insulting, but because no one wants to be that guy. But
now, with the setup, I don't know where we're going to go from here. Go right ahead, Cam.
I'm holding my breath.
Go ahead.
I'm a software developer of about 10 years. I'm not trying to like sell my website or anything like that. I did create a tool where it collects all the election data from every single state and their audit reports and processes them through known scientific peer-reviewed just generally accepted methods of identifying potential symptoms of election tampering, and I mean electronically. I also rebuilt the machines from their documents that are produced via the ProVNV. They're the companies that certify the machines. I rebuilt the machines by reverse engineering the documents, and you're able to view them and view which of the components have networking capabilities and what the firmware bugs are. And I know that's very techy. It's just to say that there are factually machines that exist that we have in our election systems that do connect to networks of some kind. And that doesn't always mean the internet, but factually, there are some that are connected to the internet, and they've been exposed in the past by white hat activists, hackers at DEF CON year after year. They have an event called Voting Village where they show these things.
I feel like we're going down a long. I was going to say we're going. This is a long walk for a drink of water. Let me know what's on your mind.
What's on my mind is that we need to talk about the previous elections. I understand that we had audits, but the math is not. It's not possible for 2% audits to capture every form of tampering, and the data suggests that there was tampering, and courts are blocking recounts of any kind for the active lawsuits that are in East Coast states for no reason.
Have you connected with the Election Truth Alliance and Nathan Taylor, who's doing some of this work too? Because
yeah, actually, I have. He's been busy this week, but he was looking to hook up with me because of the data that I have put together, because it also included the bomb threats from 2024.
Yeah, I remember. Wasn't that in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania? There were bomb threats. There were a couple places that had bomb threats that drove people out of line.
270.
Wow. Well, we do talk about that on this. We've had Nathan Taylor on a few times, and I know, several times. He's a regular on the show, and I know he's been on Richard Chu's show as well. And so, we appreciate that. And we know, I guess what's so hard with Democrats is, I think part of it, doesn't it seem as though they didn't want to pursue this because they didn't want to seem like Republicans whining about stolen elections. And yet what you're talking about, what Nathan Taylor has talked about, is quantitative, like you can see the data.
Yeah.
And so it's frustrating because here's the problem. It doesn't matter, especially when you have, not that it doesn't matter and that we shouldn't pursue it, but there isn't anybody that's going to hold it accountable or do anything with the results that you find. And that's, I'm grateful for people like you who want to track this down. On the other hand, we throw our hands up because it doesn't seem like anybody cares. It goes into the void.
I refuse to let it go into the void, but I do understand the frustration 100%.
Yeah, no, like I said, Nathan Taylor is a regular on the show, and we really appreciate you chiming in on the conversation, Cam. Take care of yourself, because I know this is maddening.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for calling. Thanks. Yeah, Nathan Taylor talks a lot about that in the court cases that they've had, but I think the Democrats get squeamish about wanting to rehash that because partly I think we
start to sound like the people and that's what scares us off. That'll make you be quiet quick.
How do you strike the balance between election integrity and saying that their elections are safe and free, and then say but they cheated, and yet if they did cheat, we need to know that, and then what do we do if they cheated? There's no.
But that's true in every system there is. We scream for transparency, yet the people that have it, if there is a problem, can you show me the numbers and explain it to me so we can find it?
Yep.
So we can have real discussions and talk from a truthful place.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a hard one. And anyway, thank you, Cam, for calling in. I don't know why he said he started out with Paxson, because I
think because some people automatically assume that when you're talking about rigging elections, that there's
it's like them. Yeah. Well, that's exactly right, because then it's all maddening.
Yeah.
And not only that, but there are other ways to manipulate that election, whether it was the massive amount of money coming in from someone like Elon Musk. By the way, I had something up yesterday. I was looking at the numbers. Do you remember how MAGA truly believed they were going to get Doge checks, they were going to get a rebate check, and how many, like they fired like 250,000 federal employees, and yet federal spending skyrocketed, and Elon Musk became a trillionaire in part by the billions of dollars in contracts he got from the federal government. So that's my point. Is it like the ability to retain what's fundamentally happening, whether it is election interfering or the lies that they so deeply believe and refuse to let go of? Like, they still are big fans of Elon, even though he clearly grifted us out of billions of dollars.
And he's not the only one.
There are going to be hospitals that close entirely because of the cuts he made. These screaming about fraud. He said there is a lot of fraud. But he's part of the fraud.
Yeah, there's clinics in small towns that have already closed.
It's unbelievable. At any rate, am I screaming? I feel like I've been screaming.
No, you got a little passionate.
I have the numbers. Hold on a second. Let me pull up these numbers for you, because it's jaw dropping how much money it was. So it's I have all these numbers. The Elon, so it was the efficiency, right? That was the whole idea. 260 federal workers lost their jobs. So you're talking about people who, in their communities, when they go out to eat, go grocery shopping, participate in your communities, 260,000 of them lost their jobs. The federal spending went up by $275 billion after those jobs were cut.
Now, those 260,000 people were not, their salaries did not add up to that money.
No, but I mean, like, it certainly didn't go down after firing all those people.
No.
And Elon Musk secured $18 billion in federal contracts. And his worth is now $1 trillion. Congratulations, MAGA. More after this on WCPT at 20, Heartland Signal, and KKNW 1150. We'll be right back after this with Carmen Navarro-Jaco and guest co-hosting.
Hey, Progressives, it's Richard Chew, host
insane.
of Chew's Views weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central. We're all anxious for the 2026 midterm election to arrive so we can restore some sanity and much-needed oversight to our government. In fact, it's the most important midterm election in American history, and Chew's Views will be in the thick of it, bringing you candidate interviews on a regular basis. I'll be talking to Democratic Party hopefuls running for House and Senate at the federal and state level, as well as candidates for governor and other state and local offices.
I am in love with our ability to fight for our rights, to fight for our future, to fight for our freedoms, to fight as our ancestors fought. It's just our moment. This is just our time to stand up and to speak up. We can't give up on this.
If you miss any of the interviews live, you'll be able to find them all on WCPT's Candidate Interviews page at heartlandsignal.com/candidates. That's Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog Walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure. Take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bank guide for details. Capital One, a member FDIC.
DQ presents Being a Miracle Maker. Making a difference in your community has never been easier because July 30th is Miracle Treat Day at DQ. You buy a blizzard tree at participating locations, and DQ will donate $1 or more to Children's Miracle Network to benefit your local children's hospital. So on July 30th, buy a blizzard tree and be a miracle maker, a blizzard-eating hero, doing their part on Miracle Treat Day. July 30th, DQ. Happy tastes good.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
So much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and hello to all of our friends who are tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and now Substack through Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. We encourage you to please subscribe to Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack, where you can stay in touch with all the great work that's, well, I'm one of the columnists. I don't say my work is great. I enjoy doing it.
I'll say your work is great.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But Ben Cominos, we have Ben Cominos, Kirk Bangstead. We have guest writers all the time, like Brendan Hennigan, who does a great job. Karen Byrne, who you know from True Blue Politics podcast. She's also a guest writer. Also Ken Mejia Beal and Michael Jokum. He's the drummer from Korn. Like he's also an essayist on our site.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and also there's a Minocqua Brewing Company marketplace. That, by the way, if you're tuning in and watching on the live stream, behind me, you'll see a banner that says "We Won't Go Quietly." Back to the 1950s. That's from Liberal Lawn. You can find some of their great lawn signs and banners on Minocqua Brewing Company Marketplace. T-shirts, and there's doggy doo-doo bags. Like it has Donald Trump's face on the bag, so you can put the crap where it belongs. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's motivating.
I'm just saying.
Maybe that'll motivate my daughters to clean up after the dogs.
Just say. There you go. We also feature. There was there's three sisters named the Dugan sisters. They sell incredibly safe and like bug spray that smells really good. And if you want to put your money where your values are, you buy products from the Dugan sisters and not from the big corporations where they're donating money to MAGA. That's all I'm saying. See how we're doing a good job of separating these conversations from our next guests after the 6:30? Yeah, because I want to make sure that we focus and put our energies where it's important, and I don't want people to feel like they aren't part of the conversation if they don't agree with us, because I know we have some hate listeners, and that's fine. We love you anyway. But we also want to make sure that anybody who finds himself in a situation that is dangerous, that you have the resources and access that you need. Because coming up in a little bit, we're going to talk to our friends from Rebel Health Charities to discuss the City of Chicago Cook County Violence Against Women Task Force and their new endeavor, all in alliance, in collaboration, also with our friend Carmen Navarro-Chacon, who's working with her friends. I want to get to some of our texts. I want to get to the news a little bit here locally. We've had some really horrifying weather, which is part of why our guests can't be in studio today. There have been thunderstorms, tornado warnings. I saw a video of an underpass where like the flooded, the cars were submerged like up to, I would say almost to the window of the driver's side, passenger side. There was a semi that had jumped a curb. I'm not sure if there was an accident involved. The fire department was there. But more, we have there was obviously heavy rain, powerful gusts of wind. There were, I believe Metro was suspending some of their trains between the city and the suburbs as well. So I hope that you're all doing okay. But it got really, those were supercell clouds that were darkening our skies earlier.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. But they called it like, we're not going to make it. I said, yes, please do not even try.
No, I'm glad that they stayed safe.
Yes.
Absolutely. So if you want to text us any of the situations that you're finding yourself in, one listener texted in that Downers Grove, there were 2 contract workers cleaning the sewers earlier when the storms hit. One rescued, but the other has not been recovered as of 6:13. And yeah, the question is about safety issues and OSHA to make sure that they, have what they need to stay safe. And also from the 651, our friend who called in about the voting tampering. So much happened so quickly. I forgot that there were 270 bomb threats called in the day of the election, the general election.
I forgot that. Either that or I didn't hear it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Like, I knew there were threats, but I didn't think there were that many.
Across the country, yeah.
Wow.
It's awful. At any rate, I want to thank our guests for being in studio and for all the conversations that we've had. We are going to, in a moment, we'll take a break and turn our attention to Violence Against Women Task Force. I do want to say, and I'm going to turn this conversation over for you to kind of moderate with our guests in order, and I'll obviously join in, but this is kind of your conversation to drive because you know what you want to.
Well, this is our conversation.
It's our conversation. I am a survivor.
You've been there from the beginning, Patti. You were there at the first meeting as well.
Yeah, and it's hard to not only have survived a domestic violence situation, and I've said this before because I was I never really used the language of domestic violence because it was emotional domestic violence, but I was trapped. I mean, you don't, because it's incremental for some people. Some people it happens fast, and you think partly in your mind you think, well, I couldn't. This isn't. I'm in love with this person, or they're not always like that, or there's so many different levels psychologically that you go through to justify the situation you're in, and then you try to figure out how to get out, and people need to know what their choices are, what services there are, what supports there are. Yeah. Because I don't even know. I mean, I remember thinking, I just wish he would hit me so I had evidence of how he treats me.
And that's just it, that domestic violence is financial, it's emotional. Even the definition statutorily isn't just the physical abuse. And that's the part of the conversation that's being missed. Long before somebody puts their hands on you, you've already felt diminished. You've already felt small. You've already felt as though you're nothing. And that happens through financial abuse, through emotional abuse, as you mentioned, through psychological abuse. Yeah. Long before sometimes somebody puts their hands on you. And that's the educational piece. Educational piece for our government offices, which is why this task force was formed, to make sure that the government agencies are speaking to each other so that everyone who touches a victim or a survivor has the information and knows what to look for. To education to our law enforcement community and first responders in general, from the hospitals to the firemen to EMS. Everyone needs to know that it is more than just physical bruises. There's a lot of emotional scarring, and we need to educate.
I appreciate that so much. I'm looking forward to this conversation. In studio, we have Carmen Navarro-Jacone. She, along with Katie Dunn and Sarah Brown, are part of the All In Alliance. We're going to discuss the City of Chicago Cook County Violence Against Women Task Force when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and to all of our friends who are tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. We encourage you to subscribe and share with your family and friends so they can join the conversation as well. More in a moment when we return.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Thunderstorm chances ending early tonight. We'll see cloudy skies with a low temperature of 70. Northwest winds up to 25 miles an hour. Sunny Tuesday, 77 for the high temperature. A more comfortable day with winds out of the north at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Wednesday, lots of sunshine. Comfortable again, high of 78 degrees. Warmer Thursday, sunshine, high of 87. Chance of storms Friday, high of 84. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 73.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges, mental health struggles, housing obstacles, food insecurity, and social isolation, to name just a few. I'm Bob Woodruff. My family and I started the Bob Woodruff Foundation in 2006 after I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq. Our service members had my back that day, and we need to have theirs now more than ever. At our foundation, we invest in solutions, so learn more about our work at bobwoodrufffoundation.org/success.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. We provide resources and support because there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's, or caring for a loved one,
find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. I was asking folks for any updates they might have about the weather in their area. The 708 says I-80 was closed in both directions in Markham due to a down power line. I do not know if that has resolved, but what a horrible weather day for everybody. Joining me in studio is my good friend and guest co-host today, Carmen Navarre-Jacone. She is our law enforcement expert. She's also former candidate for Cook County Sheriff, as well as now part of the All In Alliance. And joining us on the line from Rebel Health Charities are Katie Dunn and Sarah Brown. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good evening. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, Carmen, tell us a little bit about how you joined forces with Katie and Sarah. Tell us a little bit about the story of how this came to be. When did you meet Sarah?
Oh, wow. That's the emotional that's the emotional connection. So I was actually introduced to Sarah through Commissioner Donna Miller. We had been working with Commissioner Miller on domestic violence and kind of issues and policies. And Commissioner Miller called one day and said, I have a young lady I need you to talk to. She needs some help. And Sarah and I had a 2-hour conversation. I said, oh, Sarah, I'm working with my friend Katie Dunn on this exact issue. And boy, does she need to hear your story. So then I connected Sarah and Katie, and we've kind of been connected at the hip. And we say it's nothing but divine intervention. Sometimes the right forces, because we are a force, the right forces have to be brought together in order to move things forward. And what we, the three of us, have been able to do, you would not have told me even 2 years ago that it was possible.
Well, it is remarkable because now you guys handed the city council a report on violence against women recently, correct?
Correct. And
this report found that last year, while overall violence in the city went down, domestic related murders went up 27%. Fatal shootings and domestic cases up 56%. 1 in 4 violent crimes in Chicago was domestic violence, folks. So I want to thank Katie Dunn, Sarah Brown, and Carmen Navarre-Jacone for this. So Sarah, let me start with you. You testified with 8 different judges over 9 years, and you had to start from the very beginning every time. I mean, I'm not going to do that for you, but that takes its toll on people. How do you keep yourself sustained through all of that?
Oh, my Lord. God. So, yes, it has definitely been such an experience. And I think after the 5th judge, I said, it's not me, it's the system. And it definitely, for sure, I mean, everything that I could have been thrown by the system, I just feel like, okay, well, they were just testing it out on me because, because of this testimony here. And I just count it all Joy, even though I still have an open case, I told Carmen as well as Katie when we did figure out this was going to be a thing. I said, guys, no matter what happens, I said, I don't want the next person to have to go through what I went through. And that was the whole entire goal from that point on.
Oh man, and Katie, let me learn a little bit about where First of all, what is this the kind of work that because no one sets out necessarily to go, I want to do this unless it's something maybe from personal experience. What did you set out to do when you started your career?
Oh my God! So I've been all over the place with events, politics, working for government. But I left government about 6 years ago, and I've been really focused on safety and health, and in particular women's safety and health. Worked with some great partners, and we were working with Carmen and the former clerk Iris Martinez really to try and figure out what was going on with the system, and just hit roadblocks at every turn. We just could not find any transparency. The court system, was just still a mystery. And then so we knew there was something wrong, but meeting Sarah and hearing firsthand, and then from so many other survivors that we've talked to, it's like it just all makes sense with the numbers you're seeing, the numbers you just described of this, outrageous per in violent crime, in murders. The one other stat that just is so startling is we had a higher murder rate per capita than New York and LA combined. And same with the states, New York State and state of California combined compared to Illinois. And so we just knew there was something wrong. When Sarah can share her story, I don't want to share for her, but it's just such a broken system. And so what we decided to do is come together. We were working with some amazing leaders, Commissioner Miller and Alderman Tabaris on the city side, is like, why don't we bring everybody together instead of just focusing on the city or just focusing on the county? And really, it just worked out, remarkably. We still can't believe the results. As of today, murders are down 55% in just 6 months.
Wow.
Told you, we're a force.
Yeah, you are. Well, Carmen, having been inside the clerk's office, where would you say, and inside the sheriff's department as well, where would you say in the pipeline women most often fall through the cracks?
As soon as they walk in the door at the courthouse, unfortunately, is what we found. And that it takes a lot of courage to even, and Sarah can speak on this, to even walk in. And so once you've made that decision, we owe it to the victims to make sure everything from that point is spot on. And unfortunately, we do not. From handing them a 40-page form that they have to fill out, to sending them to a different floor, to a different office, to not having childcare available, so that they don't have to watch their child while they're filling out these forms, to having somebody explain to them what the difference is and what remedies are available. We found by talking and hearing from them really that the victims and survivors that it's not the police they were complaining a lot about. It was the court process.
I could see that.
Sarah, what do you think?
I was going to say, Sarah, what part of your story would you like to share with us?
Yeah, no worries. Yes, I can definitely. I was just kind of, it's sitting in what she just mentioned, and it is the huge part about it. No matter if you're going in for order of protection or for domestic relations court, which most oftentimes is referred to as divorce court, which is interesting, but. When I think it was the decision that I made when the violent act happened. At the time, my son was 6.5 months old, and my aunt, I remember calling her because I was strangulated by my ex. And when I came to, I called my aunt. She was the last person I had spoke with that day, and I said, I don't know what just happened. The baby is crying. I said, I know we just had a fight, and, I'm just giving her the details. And she said, Sarah, if you do not call now, he will kill you. And I woke up, it was like, okay, like, that was my first instance. That was our first situation. However, I have 2 other children that, were not with him. And so for me, I said, okay, it was just a conscious decision at that point. Once I got out the hospital and started the court journey, I will honestly say it was the most reviolating experience that a person can go through. And so just starting off in DV court, as suggested by Carmen, even through the process of the task force and I really want to, definitely shout out the advocate groups that's out here. I'm not saying that, they're not doing their job. However, the job is not always done in its entirety, or, there's no oversight that's being done, because I was one of the ones that slipped through the crack. I didn't get any assistance when I went to the courthouse. From that point, from order protection to now, my case being transferred to domestic relations, and, a judge trying to determine if what I'm telling her is the truth about the previous incident, was grueling. And when you talk about the court system being is from one courtroom to the next, the judges don't know what's happening. And so now I'm having to explain to a judge, hey, judge, I had an order of protection, against this individual, and I'm concerned about the safety and well-being of my child. And so that's like a whole separate role, especially, and I think that's what, after speaking with Carmen initially, it was just kind of like it made sense and it clicked. I know for her where it was like, wow, right. These systems really do not talk to each other. I mean, if I told the judge I had 3 orders of protection against this person, they wouldn't be able to verify it. Right. And so now, right along with the revolving door, which, resulted in me having 8 total judges appointed to my case. Now I have to prove myself to these human beings, because at the end of the day, they're human beings, they're trained. However, they still have to, kind of have that decisiveness and the thought process and the emotional connectivity and just kind of those nuances that you would think judges will be trained with. They're not. And so, of the total now 9.5 years, it has taken me, 8 years to really fully tell my story. And the result of that, year 8, what really, transpired with me just trying to, protect my son in this process. And really, it's just been over parentage. Child support has been put on the back burner by multiple judges. So you would think I would get, oh, yeah. A lot of times people are like, oh, she just wants child support. No, the judges, that's another consistent, I would say that, use that word, consistent process that's kind of set aside while they're figuring out parentage and, parenting time. And so in 2024 on Thanksgiving Day, this was the first holiday that we had to share. We finally had a parentage order that was entered. And that was the first holiday, Thanksgiving, for us to share. So just to kind of share, because of the lack of due diligence from the judge, not only was my judge unaware that there was other people living in a home with his father, but he had several other occurrences at his home that I was testifying throughout, the finalization of this particular order. Also, let me add, something typical that happens in cases like this. You have private attorneys that's appointed as GALs and child reps. In my case, I was appointed to at my cost, 70% my way.
I want to make sure Patti caught that, Sarah, because that's something we try to drive home. So in domestic relations court, when they assign these attorneys, you pay for them.
Wow.
But you don't have a say in who it is.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
That's across the board.
That's across the board in domestic relations.
Yes.
So victims like
Patty,
Sarah.
If we asked you to guess how much the retention fee or how much it is per hour on some of the people we've talked to have their kids and they're living out of their car, you would never guess.
I don't want to guess, but also what a weird pipeline of revenue.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sarah.
Yeah, no, go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's crazy.
But I wanted to kind of give some meat to the storyline because I know I went from 6 months to now 8.5 years later. There were other trained professionals, right, that was appointed to my case at my cause that you would have thought that did their due diligence, right, to make sure that my son was entering in an atmosphere that was safe for him. And on that day, changed both my son and my life for the rest of our lives because my son observed his father beating his girlfriend. And once I heard that and from, verbatim, dropped. Sorry.
I got you.
Son,
right.
Okay.
From your son.
Sorry about that.
You heard
So I was told, verbatim what happened. My son was dropped off to me that very next morning. And he thought I knew what occurred. And I'm like, no, what happened? And he's like, well, my dad got arrested. And, everything in me, I thought I failed as a parent because I was trying to protect my son from this very thing.
Right.
Everything that any trained professional would know in this space when you have a repeated abuser, he had all of the signs.
Wow.
Everything was there. So.
Incredible. And I know that people have told you this and how many people you're helping by coming forward with your story. I want to continue our conversation. We have to take a break. We're talking to our friends Katie Dunn and Sarah Brown from Rebel Health Charities. We're talking about the City of Chicago, Cook County Violence Against Women Task Force and their new endeavor, the All In Alliance. And joining me in studio as part of this alliance is Carmen Navarro-Jacone, who's my guest co-host today. We'll take a break here and continue when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, KTNF AM 950, and our friends tuning in digitally. We appreciate you all.
Think Theory Radio.
Dr. Hande Ozdinler, she is a neuroscientist, but also an artist.
It seems that the larger we go, like, the galaxy, the sky, and then also as small as we go, right? The nanostructures, the atomic interactions or cellular interactions, there is so much resemblance. Like there is a secret or there is an unspoken symmetry.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
I am often asked, why is it important to have a living trust? The most important reason is control, being able to control where your investment accounts, retirement accounts, and your home go upon your passing. This is Tony Moret. I've been an estate planning lawyer here in the Chicago area for over 35 years. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT over the last several years, and it has been a privilege to be on their airwaves. The reality is, for most people, their assets will go through a court-supervised process in probate court, which can be expensive and takes many months. Having a living trust will make sure this does not happen. Control of your assets will be handled directly by your trusted family member or friend. I will explain every step of the process to make sure you are comfortable with the plan as we move forward. Please call me at 847-996-0496 to start. There is no fee for the initial consultation and no obligation. Again, my phone is 847-996-0496. I look forward to speaking with you.
Your child is sick. And with those 4 words, the innocence and joy of childhood disappears. But Starlight has taught us 4 other words that make all the difference. The power of play. Healing begins with happiness. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation provides programs to hospitalized kids to deliver happiness when it matters most. Learn more at starlight.org.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and of course all of our friends who are tuning in digitally. In studio, we have guest co-host Carmen Navarre-Jacone, and she, along with Katie Dunn and Sarah Brown from Rebel Health Charities, we're discussing the City of Chicago and Cook County Violence Against Women Task Force. We've been talking to Sarah about her personal experiences, and I think a lot of people identify with so much of what you've gone through. I think a lot of us are learning even more about the elements that are incomprehensible to anyone with a heart who's listening. Katie, we talked a lot about the numbers earlier and you know what those numbers show us. What's the next phase of this task force? What do we do with this information in this report?
Well, that is a great question. So we're going to come back in September with these leaders. And so it's the City of Chicago and Cook County, but we were really fortunate and a lot of state leaders decided to also join. So we have the governor's office, the attorney general, the secretary of state. And so going forward, we're going to we came out with a report, and you could view it at rebelhealthcharities.org or on any of our socials. But we came out with a report with 6 main recommendations, some of which are going to be legislative and some of which are going to be more policy driven or program driven. And so the real common theme among the 6 recommendations are what everybody can do together. Unlike any other system, there's not a system, quote unquote, system for women protecting women. So you could have a case in civil court that transfers to criminal court or vice versa. You could have, as Sarah's case, you walk on the door to a domestic violence case and then it gets transferred to a different division with no services or competency for domestic violence. So in addition to that, you could have multiple police interactions with different police agencies. So it's just the only way to build a system is to bring everybody together. There'll never be any official oversight because a lot of people are independently elected. But what we're trying to build is an official partnership. One of the recommendations is a charter that everyone would sign and agree to and adopt by ordinance to participate that will hopefully live, much past the task force. But for the next phase, we're coming back. We have a lot of new leaders joining, which is exciting, and we're going to start implementing. Already just in putting the pressure points on the system and putting more oversight and having these conversations for the first time in far too long, We've seen an uptick in the amount of orders of protection served. We've seen some really great initiatives come out of the state's attorney's office, which they were doing that anyway. But there's just a lot more focus on this by means of the task force. So now it's how do we continue this momentum, not let this report gather dust on someone's desk somewhere and really start implementing them. Because one of the things, Patti, and thank you for your support. I know you've been there from us literally from the beginning. Our first meeting is survivor driven. Sarah's story and so many other stories are what drives the conversation, the pathway forward. And every other task force and initiative in the past have been great and they've come up with great recommendations. But a lot of times it's the policy people at the table. And what our goal is with the task force and All in Alliance, which we could talk about next, is really how do we do community organizing, bring survivors together and bring them to the table. Because that has been the power behind everything that's changed so far.
Incredible work. And as Katie mentioned, the All in Alliance, Sarah, what would you like folks to know about this organization and the work that you do?
Awesome. Well, this was definitely birthed, of course, from all of the efforts. What we found was there was power, and there's power in healing. And I think as you're going through just even telling your story, folks that I met just in court, and we connected and, people call it trauma bonding, but no, it's more or less, just talking about it and just really kind of coming together to say, you know what, well, maybe that is a thing. Maybe we can kind of lean on each other, as far as for encouragement or just, as an act of, togetherness. And so with the concept All In is gonna, the focus is now is to bring not only survivors, other advocacy groups, elected officials, and just saying, hey, we're all in on this together, and just identifying the needs and the support of the many victims that's current and, that's future, where they feel like they have the resources necessary to give them hope, honestly.
Honestly, I as a survivor, I'm so grateful for all the work that you're all doing. Carmen, what would you like folks to know about how they can get involved, stay informed, sort of next steps as we wrap up here?
Well, hopefully we're going to send you all the links so that they can find it also. But yes, with Rebel Health Charities and All in Alliance on our Facebook page, the report is also available. But the simplest way to get involved is believer. If you have somebody telling a story and you see it or something doesn't feel right, then something probably isn't right. And as Sarah mentioned with the All In Alliance, it's elevating the voices. It's not just listening to somebody. It's repeating that story. It's finding out what's wrong and making a commitment to heal as a community and remembering that real connections save lives.
Again, the Facebook page is Rebel Health.
We have Rebel Health Charities, and there also is the All In Alliance.
Excellent. We'll continue to have these conversations and make sure that people are informed and engaged. Sarah, Katie, thank you so much for everything and for joining us.
Thank you.
And I hope the weather is decent enough for us to be able to gather in studio again. And I look forward to seeing you both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you guys later.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Carmen, for joining us in studio. Thank you, Henry, for running the show and keeping the train on the tracks. Have a great night, everybody. Be safe. We love you all.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Pam wanted to purchase her grandmother's $400,000 home after she passed away, which was left to Pam's father, Ted, and her Aunt Betty. Ted listens to my show and wanted to forego his half of the equity of his mom's home and sell Pam the home for $200,000. Bad move. I recommended Pam purchase the home for $400,000 and get a gift of equity from her father, Ted, for $200,000. Which enabled Pam to purchase the home with a lower rate and no money out of her pocket. Let's review. I helped Pam purchase